Breaking news out of the NBA, Paul George will not be in the lineup tonight for the Clippers' elimination game against the Pelicans. Per multiple reports, George has been placed in the league's COVID protocols. He scored a game-high 34 points in the Clippers' play-in loss to the Timberwolves on Tuesday. That was after missing a big chunk of the season with a torn UCL in his right elbow. He was still the team's leading scorer this season, averaging better than 24 points in 31 games. They'll tip off at 10 p.m. Eastern in LA, and of course the winner advancing to play the Phoenix Suns in the first round. The loser goes home. As you look at the head-to-head this season, the Pelicans won 3 of the 4 games. The one game that George did play, the Clippers won by 19. All right, for reaction to this, let's welcome in the coach, Avery Johnson, joining us here on CBS Sports HQ. An elimination game tonight, and without their leading scorer, your reaction to the news that Paul George will not be in the lineup tonight for the Clippers?
Jeremy, you're almost speechless, and so am I. Wow, what a change of events for the Los Angeles Clippers. And to lose Paul George for this play-in game, and that's why these play-in games are really tricky. An injury could change the course of a situation, COVID protocols, maybe guys gets in foul trouble during the course of a game. This is some really serious breaking news for the Los Angeles Clippers, and disappointing news, because here's a situation where they're coming off of this embarrassing loss. Patrick Beverley and the Minnesota Timberwolves beat them in the 7-8 matchup. Pat Beverley basically embarrasses them with a lot of his antics during the game and his post-game celebration. And now they have to take the long flight back to LA. They were the favorites going into this game against a young Pelicans team that beat the Spurs. And now you lose a guy who arguably could have been the best player in this series, who was injured quite a bit this year and was out for a long period of time. He was rounding into shape. And now Paul George out of this game. Wow, this is some serious problem for the Los Angeles Clippers, because in the past, if Paul George had to miss a game, then Kawhi Leonard would take up the slack. He's an NBA champion, and you don't really miss too much of a beat. Now there's no Kawhi Leonard, no Paul George, so this significantly improves the chances of the New Orleans Pelicans to win this game and secure this 8th seed at Crypto Arena tonight in Los Angeles.
Well, and when you look at it, Vegas has seen the change as well. The Clippers were 4-point favorites at home. Now it's the Pelicans, 1.5-point favorites, 1.5-point favorites on the road. So if you're Ty Lue, Coach, what is your approach when you walk into that room?
You're going to have to lean on Reggie Jackson a lot and lean on your defense. And I think with Ty Lue, he's going to have to slow the game down, reduce some of the possessions. You don't want a high possession game going up against this very long, athletic Pelicans team. And now, that's going to probably shift a guy like Herb Jones, one of the best defenders in the NBA, over to Reggie Jackson, and allow guys like Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum to relax a little bit more on defense and use all of their energy on offense. So this is a game changer for the Pelicans. The Pelicans, they've been handed this game now on the silver platter without Paul George. And man, I don't know if this is a situation in Paul George, because we just don't know how this virus, we don't know enough in terms of how, guys, catch COVID. So it's really disappointing if Paul George did something irresponsible to put himself in this situation. So bad news for the Pelicans. Bad news for the Clippers, Good news for the Pelicans. And now they got to take advantage of it, because they couldn't have asked for any better news in their situation to get some bad news for the Clippers with Paul George missing this game because of health and safety protocols.
Yeah, we don't know what the situation is in terms of George contracting COVID, but obviously, it doesn't really matter at this point because the Clippers are going to be without him. So if you're the Phoenix Suns, are you happy with this news, or would you have rather have maybe faced the Clippers in your first round series versus the Pelicans, given the way the two teams are playing right now?
I think if you're the Phoenix Suns, you still wanted to play a younger Pelicans team who doesn't have deep postseason experience. Because of the Pelicans rely on a couple of guys like, rookie Herb Jones. Obviously, CJ McCollum has experience. Valanciunas doesn't really have a ton of playoff experience, and some of the guys coming off their bench. So I think from the Phoenix Suns standpoint, they don't really care who they're going to play because they have their eyes on the NBA championship. They're deeper than both of these teams, more experience coming off of an NBA Finals. Coach in Monty Williams, who's my coach of the year, who also had, coached with Coach Green last year. So I think in this situation, the Suns really don't care. But if they had a preference, they probably want to play the Pelicans.
Well, it's handed to them on a silver platter. As you said, Coach, Avery Johnson joining us to discuss the breaking news. Paul George out tonight as the Clippers take on the Pelicans to decide the 8th seed in the West. Thanks, Coach.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.